What happened with the vaccine board? I keep reading you fired all these eminent scientists on the vaccine board.
Yeah, I fired all these what?
All these important, highly credentialed scientists.
Yeah, well, we fired that board because it was just an instrument. It was a sock puppet for the industry that it was supposed to regulate. And this was a long time coming, Tucker. In 2002, the Government Oversight Committee and the United States Congress held hearings about that board, which is called ACIP, Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices. And they said that 97% of the people on that board had undisclosed conflicts. Many of them had disclosed conflicts as well. It gave an example. It said the rotavirus vaccine was approved by that board. And there were 5 members of that board at that time, and 4 of them had direct financial interests in the rotavirus vaccine. They were working for the companies that made the vaccine, or they were receiving grants to do clinical trials on that vaccine. They all had overwhelming financial interests. One of the people on that board was a guy called Paul Offit, and who is one of the big voices for vaccines. CNN goes to him all the time when it wants to know about vaccines. He voted to add the rotavirus vaccine to the schedule when he had a rotavirus vaccine in development. Because it's now on the schedule, his developing vaccine is virtually guaranteed to get on the schedule. It's a competitive product, but once you say rotavirus vaccine has to be vaccinated for, his vaccine is now guaranteed to get on the schedule. The one they voted on, that he voted on, within a year it had to be withdrawn because it was causing this really disastrous disease in kids that is often lethal called insusception, that agonizingly painful when your intestines kind of tie up against each other. Oh. It kills children, on occasion. That vaccine was pulled the following year, and his vaccine then replaced it. He was still on the committee. He didn't vote on that, but he was still on the committee.
But he voted to make rotavirus vaccine mandatory for the schedule.
And he and his business partners, Stanley Plotkin and a couple of other people, sold that vaccine to Merck for $186 million. He told Newsweek that he won the lottery. Oh, it's been said of him that he voted himself rich. That's the most sort of glaring example of medical malpractice by this group, that they approved all these vaccines. We went from 11, remember, to 69 to 92, 11 vaccines in 86, and not one of them had, except for COVID. COVID is the only one that had a pre-licensing safety trial that involved a placebo. And so all of those other vaccines were ushered in without safety studies. And that means nobody understands the risk profile of those products.
How can you do that?
They did it. It's corruption. And it's because of agency capture. There was a gold rush to add new vaccines to the schedule. And ACIP never turned away a single vaccine. Everyone that came to them, they, recommended. We want to protect public health, but, that means protecting against chronic disease too. And, these vaccines there's nobody who will contest that they can cause chronic disease, chronic injuries that last a lifetime.